Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, geeks, nerds, ambassadors everywhere, and welcome to the Ambassador Wing and another installment of Afternoons with the Ambassador. And glad that you are all here today. Hope you've had a great weekend. I've had a pretty good one myself, aside from working. But hey, one's got to make a living. And today, as the thumbnail and title indicated, going to be talking Marvel, and in particular, going to be talking about the last couple episodes of What If, in particular, What If Zombies, and What If Tony Killmonger saved Tony Stark. And I want to send a shout out to the chat, to Lewis Cox, Superior Hero Review Collectibles, and Movies, games, and comics are us. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for being here and appreciate you all tuning in today. And as always, if you are enjoying the content that you're getting on the Ambassador Wing, make sure you smash that like button, share this out with your friends, and recommend this channel to your friends. If they are geeks, if they are nerds, and if they want to become an ambassador, tell them to get their butts over to the Ambassador Wing and join all of the fun. But with that all being said, we don't stand a lot of ceremony, but I do want to bring up a couple of things. For those of you who know, I celebrated a birthday this past week, turned 43. And I will say this, I have a truly great group of friends and family, and my brother from another mother, as we call each other, because we grew up together, we went to school together. We're practically brothers, but we just happen to have different mothers and, well, obviously different fathers. And we had a brother's night out. He took me out for my birthday and everything. And he was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "Well, hey, I got to spend time with you. That's more than enough." And he's like, "No. What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "I don't really want anything for my birthday." I was like, "You're treating me to dinner. We're going to hang out and whatever." He's like, "I know, but still. What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "Well, I love Marvel. You know this." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "I'm like you. I like Marvel too." And I was like, so we went to a local pop culture store, and they sell movies. They sell all sorts of unique, geeky, nerdy stuff. And yeah, Liz Cox. It's a vintage and everything. This is back from before Dawson's redesign. Back when I was a part of his Patreon. Unfortunately, I couldn't be. I just couldn't afford to be a part of his Patreon anymore. But anyway, back on topic. Before I get into the main topic of the afternoon, I went looking through the Funko Pops, and well, for those of you who know, I showed this off the other day when I did my last stream and everything. I got the Funko Pop of Captain Carter from the What If series. Well, according to Mad Ambassador, these are exceedingly hard to find, and they're not cheap on the secondary market like Amazon or eBay. But well, I got this I got this fella right here from the What If series, Doctor Strange Supreme. You know, so, and I was like, holy! I looked at the shelf, and there was only like 2 or 3 of them left. I was like, holy freaking crap! I can't believe I found this. And I also found, well, this one's a little bigger. I might actually have to move my microphone for a minute just so y'all can get it in frame. So, but I also found this sucker, and again, according to Man Ambassador, these are not easy to find. But I was lucky enough; I got the Hydra Stomper Funko Pop. So I was like, holy cow! So I've got 3 of the initial run of the What If Funkos. So, and well, this is on a slightly separate topic. For those of you who know, I am a let's see, Lewis Cox. You collect Funko Pops. Cool. I didn't collect Pops, but I do collect the Marvel Legends. Yeah, I actually, Lewis, I collect both. And I also collect, well, for those of you who know, I collect vintage toys. And I'm a huge Star Wars nut. Well, vintage toy store that is in my hometown recently got in a pretty cool shipment. And I was fortunate enough to score, well, you'll notice a slight resemblance in just a minute. It is from the Star Wars Expanded Universe Grand Admiral Thrawn figure. Now, granted, it's not the Black Series, but these are hard as hell to find. And, well, I got that too and everything. And, well, like I said, you'll notice a resemblance. And Liz Cox, that's cool. If the Funkos aren't your thing, and like I said, I had recently just gotten a couple of the Iron Man Marvel Legends figures, and I might actually get the whole set because it builds a character that actually looks pretty cool, Ursa Major, excuse me. But I've shown off my recent birthday acquisitions. Let's get into the main topic of the afternoon. That's, of course, the last couple episodes of Marvel's What If, and of course, Hawkeye. And we got the trailer for Hawkeye. It was actually a day before my birthday, and I was like, and I'm going to risk fate. I haven't seen anyone else have a problem doing this, so I'm actually going to pull up the trailer for Hawkeye, and we're going to go through Hawkeye first, and then we'll jump into What If after that. But I just want to give my thoughts on the Hawkeye trailer. So give me just a second. Gotta hit this little share screen thingy here. 2 seconds. So there it is. And, well, shoot, I can't, George, I can see you in the chat, but I unfortunately cannot see your entire comment, so just bear with me for just a second, my friend. So, and, hey, shoot, sorry, guys, cat. And, okay, there it is. I can see it now. Shout out to the chat, just George, good to see you, bud. Hey, everyone, speaking of Marvel, I'm writing about a couple of upcoming Marvel movies for an article I'm writing for my friend's site. George, that is awesome, dude. And congratulations on that. So, and another longtime friend of the channel, a personal friend of mine. You know him, you love him, LDG of Geeks and... All right. Sorry, guys. Cat's being a pest. So if you see me reaching over this way, it's him being a pest. So, but anyway, like I said, I haven't had anybody have any problems as I know of running this trailer. I guess Marvel and Disney isn't quite as pain in the neck about these things as Warner Brothers is. So, but if it is, I'll crop it out later. So anyway, let's go ahead and pull this up. Okay. Marvel Studios Hawkeye official trailer.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
It's the most wonderful time.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling.
Things have gotten more complicated.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most wonderful.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy shit! There are arrows more dangerous than ours? Christmas.
Oh man. Sorry guys. This jingle and a face I have seen in other chats, but I have not seen here. I forgot to mute. Okay, here we go. A face I have seen in other chats, but I have not seen here. Kira, come on, Kira. Thank you for tuning in this afternoon, and thank you for. I appreciate you being here, and I'll bring up your comment. And Lewis, thank you, man. Yeah, and Lewis, this honestly, this looks this looks really interesting. I won't lie. Let's see, and let's make sure I haven't gotten taken down by the gods of YouTube. Nope, I am still live. Yay! Might get a copyright claim later, but that's all right. Just want to say this seems like Jingle All the Way meets Die Hard, but I will most certainly give it a fair shake. Yeah, Kira, that does kind of. I do kind of get that vibe from this, but I can't say it's a vibe I'm not against, because, well, as a kid of the 80s, I love Die Hard. I do. I love Die Hard. I love I love that movie to death. And yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Anyway, but just to give my quick thoughts on this, Hawkeye he's a street level character. He's like, well, to kind of use something you said, Kira, he is the John McClane of the MCU. He's always in the wrong place at the wrong time, except he doesn't use a gun. He uses a bow and arrow. I mean, if you think about it, and I know that some people did not care for Age of Ultron, but I have to say it. He's like, we are in a city in the sky, and we're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. That sounds like something John McClane would say. Of course, I have to quote another favorite movie of mine from the 80s and the 90s, or movie series. I'm getting too old for this crap. So, and I'll bring up Lewis's comment here. Hang on 1 second. I love the purple of Kate's costume. One of my favorite colors is purple. LOL, that trailer. Lewis, you actually share something in common with Mam and Baxter. Her favorite color is also purple. So, and thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that very much. But I have to say this. Great. It's not even a 2-minute trailer, but just shy of a 2-minute trailer. I really dig the dynamic between Clint and Kate. It actually kind of rhymes. Clint and Kate. They could almost call this. They could have called the show Clint and Kate, and it would have worked. Clint and Kate, the Hawkeyes. But I will say this: I'm not super familiar with Haley Steinfeld as an actress, but if this is her first foray into the comic book movie genre, she's gonna be in for one hell of a ride. And I will wait to give a critique of the series once it comes out in November. And I will say this: I'm glad that they kind of planned this. Actually, Kira, I did do some discussions on Venom 2. I can discuss it here for a few minutes if you want me to and everything. I haven't. Of course, I won't try and risk that because I've had several friends of mine who've done reviews of or reactions to the Venom 2 trailers. But I will tell you, Kira, I am very interested and very excited to see Let There Be Carnage. And now I will say this in full transparency: I have not seen the first Venom movie. I have seen clips of it, but I have never seen it all the way through. I'm still trying to track down a copy of it on physical. And I'm trying to get Blu-ray, but that's like pulling freaking teeth. But I will eventually find a copy, especially before. Carrie, you're fine, man. And again, but let's see. I'll bring up George's comment here. Superhero movies taking place during Christmas, like Iron Man 3, Shazam, and Batman Forever, have a special place in my heart. Yeah. Even though, most of you who know me know this or may not know this. Batman Returns is not one of my favorite superhero movies. I'm not saying it's bad. It's it's more so to do. It's more of a disconnect with the villains. But to get back to your comment, Kira, uh, with the Venom 2 trailers that I've seen, they did a good job of giving a good perspective of what this movie is going to be about. It's going to have humor in it, but it's also going to be very dark. And I will say when they announced that they were going to they had casted Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, I was like, based on the design of the character from the comics, that is not a bad casting. And considering Woody Harrelson's very unorthodox acting style, I think that they are very. I think they picked a good actor for Cletus Cassidy. Now, I have heard about some of the rumors in terms of how this might connect into Spider-Man No Way Home. And yes, I will be going to see Spider-Man No Way Home when it comes out in December. But, I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan. Those of you who have followed me know that my main teams within my main heroes that I follow within the Marvel universe before the MCU, and even during the and now during the MCU, were always the teams. I've always been a huge fan of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and their two particular corners of the Marvel universe. But I have enjoyed the I have enjoyed every single one of the MCU movies, good or bad, up or down. I've enjoyed them. So, but yeah, I will definitely be I may have to just bite the bullet and get it on digital, get Venom, the first Venom movie, and get it on digital instead of getting it on physical copy. But I'll figure that out. So, and I'll bring up, Kira, I'll bring up your comment here. If you ask, Schumacher's films were obviously tailored to be a little more eccentric, family-friendly, campy like Adam West versions. I don't fault it too much, but it's very dated in my opinion. Kira, I will say I don't know if you know a lot of the backstory, and I don't want to get off on a big tangent here. I don't know if you know the backstory on in terms of the production on the Joel Schumacher Batman films, but those were more done by studio mandate than Schumacher's original vision. I have always been a very strong proponent and supporter of the releasing of the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, because Batman Forever is one of my favorite Batman films, not to mention one of my favorite comic book movies as well. And his original take on it was going to be a lot darker, a lot grittier, and more in keeping with what Tim Burton had done with the first two films in the 80s and 90s Batman franchise. But Warner Brothers wanted family friendly, campy, and well, that's what Schumacher gave them. Or that's what they that's what they edited his films into being. Now, I will say, and then we'll move along. Batman and Robin is only a handful of movies I ever actually walked out on. I've only walked out on maybe 2 movies in my entire life, if it hadn't, just on the simple premise that they were so bloody bad. The other times where I didn't feel well. So, yeah, Carrie, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, Joel was kind of strong armed into doing what producers told him to do. Yeah, unfortunately. And I hope that someday, hopefully within my lifetime, that we do get to see the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. So, yeah, and Kira, I do understand what you're saying. I will say, despite the meddling, I thought Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones as Riddler and Two-Face in that film, their parts were actually, I really enjoyed them. I liked their dynamic together as villains, and also separately, how they portrayed those characters. I know the Riddler was a little over the top, but when you're dealing with someone like Jim Carrey, it was over the top, but there was also a very dark and very edgy aesthetic to his portrayal as the Riddler. So, but we're not here today to talk about DC, although I do love DC, but we'll move along into the next topic. Yeah, Lewis, you're not wrong. Batman Robin is not a good superhero movie. It is a bad. Yeah, Kira, that is true. Well, that is Jim being Jim. Yeah, very true. But as I said, we're not talking DC today. We're talking Marvel. And we'll go ahead and move into the next topic of the afternoon. And that is, of course, the last couple episodes of What If. Oh, yeah, Lewis. People, you can look me, you can tell me to my face, Batman Forever is a bad movie. I'll be like, okay, that's your perspective. I respect it. Me, I love Batman Forever. I will always love Batman Forever. But the other topic of the afternoon is, of course, the last couple of episodes of What If, and that's, of course, What If Zombies. And like I said at the start of the stream, what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark? And we'll start with What If Zombies. Now, I will tell you all, again, full transparency, I have not had a chance to read a modern Marvel comic in a very long time. So I never got a chance to read the Zombies run of, or the Zombies storyline within Marvel Comics. So I was this whole concept was a little. No, Kira, you're fine. Yeah, Kira, from my perspective, from Captain Carter up until now, and I will tell you all, I read the What If comics growing up as a kid and as a teenager, and I really enjoyed some of the storylines that they did. The zombie episode and this other one, the What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark, I thought they were both very good. I will say one small critique in terms of this newest episode. I was a little fuzzy on what Killmonger's main motivation was at points, because it seemed like either he was wanting to take over Wakanda or he wasn't wanting to take over Wakanda. And obviously, for those of us who know the movie, he takes over the throne as ruler of Wakanda, and he's ready to go to war with the rest of the world. But he's stopped by T'Challa. Yes, Lewis, I will agree with that, and we'll focus on the zombie episode, and then I'll move into my my review and my thoughts on the What If with Killmonger and Tony. This was Marvel's take on the horror / zombie movie, and oh, okay, Kira, it is actually a hat from a it's another channel that I follow that I'm actually friends with the host and everything. His name is Dawson Weidrich, and his channel is called Nerdy in Many Ways. And I was, for a while, I was a patron of his channel. I just, unfortunately, financial circumstances arose that I couldn't any longer be a member of his Patreon, but as part of his Patreon, you get a hat. And I wear this hat ever so often in support of his channel, because I do regard Dawson and as a friend. And it's just a cool looking hat. So but anyway, in terms of the What Ifs episode with What If Marvel Zombies, I liked how they constructed this particular episode. Now, as I said, I never got to read the Marvel run of What If Zombie, or Marvel Zombies. So this was, I liked the crash course that they gave in terms of how they changed it up. That it was because of Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne going into the quantum realm to rescue Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp. and she gets infected with some sort of quantum verse virus, and she's turned into a zombie, and everybody else starts getting and they kept it simple. You get bit, you get infected, and it's as simple as that. But I will say this, with the Doctor Strange episode and the zombie episode, and now to a certain degree with the Killmonger and Tony episode, they've they've gone to kind of a dark place with these episodes, and I appreciate that fact. They haven't kept it just strictly pure lighthearted and everything, where things kind of just work out. And that's one of the cool things about the What If series, in terms of both the comics and now this animated series that we have gotten. And I will say this, I when oh, for heaven's sakes, who is it that gets popped out of the quantum realm? I can't remember now. Oh, no. It was Bruce Banner that gets sent back to Earth, and he's like, Thanos is coming. Thanos is coming. And he gets into he exits the Sanctum Sanctorum, and the streets are deserted. I got a very I Am Legend vibe from that particular scene, or maybe even 28 Days Later, where all the zombies are kind of in hiding, and you see Ebony Maw and the big hulking guy, the other member of the Black Order that shows up on Earth with Ebony Maw, and the zombie Avengers eat them or turn them into zombies themselves. And Hank is like, "Well, that seems just a little extreme." And then you finally see, now I will you see that Tony and all the heroes are zombies, and I will say the zombified Tony Stark, he ugly. He is very, very ugly. He is nasty looking. And then of course you've got Okoye from the Dora Milaje from Wakanda. You've got Spider-Man, which granted it wasn't Tom Holland voicing Spider-Man. They had somebody else do the voice of that particular Spider-Man, but it worked. And you had a lot of other heroes. You had Hope Van Dyne, the new Wasp. You had Happy Hogan. I can't remember who else was one of the surviving heroes off the top of my head. I think that might have been it, actually. No, Sharon Carter was another one that had survived. Agent 13 or Agent 13 from S.H.I.E.L.D. when S.H.I.E.L.D. was still a thing and not in operation. Obviously, it isn't. Zombies have taken over. I won't lie. I would have loved to seen a zombie Nick Fury. That would have been cool. I would have loved to seen a zombie Nick Fury. But anyways, getting back on track with the episode. This has a very kinetic pace. It has a very frantic pace, which is very common with the zombie movie genre or the zombie series genre. And they're trying to keep Hank alive because he has no idea what, or not Hank, Bruce. Why did I keep saying Hank? I meant Bruce Banner. Alive from getting eaten by zombies. So, and the episode, it's like going down a very dark, very frightening hallway. Yeah, and I'll bring up Lewis Cox's comment here. Zombie Avengers are ugly. They're zombies. Yeah, obviously, Lewis, they are. They're very, 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 very ugly. They're nasty looking. And I think that's one of the cool things that they did with the design for the zombies for this. I imagine they based the designs from the comic book, obviously. But with every What If, there's at least one or two twists. And when they figure out that someone has figured out how to cure the zombies, and then they go to the subway, and going into a subway in a zombie situation is never good. So yeah, Kira, I will agree. More zombies than undead. Yeah, obviously, because the interesting thing, the interesting dynamic that they presented with the episode, the zombie episode, the heroes retained their consciousness and their abilities. Everybody else was just a straight up zombie. So, and I thought that was actually a really interesting dynamic, to be honest with you. So, but obviously they get to the yeah, just George, you're not wrong. And Kira, I do see your other comment. I will address it here in just a minute. So I don't want you thinking I'm ignoring it. I'm not. Hank Pym and Tony Stark so far have had the worst luck in the what if timelines. Well, you could even toss Doctor Strange in there, although Tony and Hank have had more appearances so far. Yeah, Kira, that is also true. You have to give those characters some personality, so they can't just be straight up zombies or anything. So, but I will go ahead and address your comment here, Kira. 1 second. Would be interesting to see Woody Harrelson playing Zombie Carnage, considering he was in Zombieland. Not to get back into DC, but Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah, Kira, I do love the Zombieland movies. Well, I saw the first one. I heard a lot of good things about the second one. I just haven't had a chance to see it. So, but yeah, that would have been. Now, granted, Carnage and Venom are more over in the Sony area of the Marvel universe. They're not part of the MCU proper, but if the rumors are we are hearing is true from some of the post-credit scenes or whatever, and that might be changing. Just saying. And speaking of Spider-Man, I do love the fact that Doctor Strange's cloak ends up on him. And of course, I hope they make an action figure, or they make a Marvel Legends figure of Hank Pym's head in a jar, and he's got the cloak of levitation. I will do. I know that might seem like a very simplistic Marvel Legends figure, but I would buy that sucker in a heartbeat because it was such a cool design. Hank is like, "Oh, I can move around now. Does the cloak look good? Does the cloak look good?" So, yeah, I care absolutely. I know what you mean because it's Chris and Des Sony's Spider-Man verse, so it's a toss-up to say the least. Yeah, very true. But as I mentioned, of course, they get to the army base, and that's where everything gets even worse. I mean, that's kind of the gist of a zombie movie. Everything just gets exponentially worse. And when you toss super-powered zombies into the mix, and can I just say, giant zombie Hope Van Dyne. I didn't think I would ever say those words in my entire life. But she sacrifices herself to get the others into the base. And she gets turned into a mega zombie. And it's just frightening as hell. And then, of course, when they get to the base, you've got Vision. And you got Zombie Wanda. And okay, this is just a recipe for disaster. Because you have a mega powered superhero like the Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, as a zombie. Again, words I never thought I would ever say in my entire life. Zombie Scarlet Witch. And as I've heard, they have actually made a Funko Pop of Zombie Scarlet Witch. And I'm hoping that they do a Marvel Legends Zombie Scarlet Witch. Because that would be how they design that is going to be very interesting. I mean it. And I'm like, and I've even heard that they're going to be doing Marvel Legends of the What If figures. We're going to be getting Captain Carter. We're going to probably get Doctor Strange Supreme. We'll probably get the Hydra Stomper and all those other things. But it ends, of course, with them heading to Wakanda. But unfortunately, somebody got there first. Zombie Thanos with the bare half of the Infinity Gauntlet. And I know some people have asked, well, how in the world does he get, how did he have the Infinity Gauntlet? Well, you have to remember, Thanos was probably still going after the Infinity Stones during the events of the zombie breakout on Earth. Yes, Lewis Cox, you're not wrong. And Superior Hero Collectibles, welcome back, bud. Appreciate you for popping back in. So, and hey, to everybody that's in the chat, if you want to join me and and talk about either What If, or if you want to jump back into the Hawkeye trailer, the link for the stream's up top at the top. I've pinned it there. So, you know the routine. But yes, Lewis Cox, I said this, I think, on social media or somewhere not too long ago. I never thought I would want these two figures ever in my life, but I wanted Marvel Legends Zombie Wanda and in Marvel Legends Zombie Thanos. Zombie Thanos. Good grief. But as I was starting to say, he probably had collected those in particular Infinity Stones before he got to Earth, and he actually got bitten. Yeah, exactly, George. The Guardians wasn't changed because zombies weren't in space yet, so Thanos still did the other stuff before coming to Earth. Yeah, exactly. He got the Space Stone. He got the Power Stone. He got the Reality Stone. Superior, you're fine, man. You gotta take care of your kiddos. I understand. No offense taken, but you know. The thing we have to remember about these what ifs is these are hypotheticals. These are not exactly what happened in the MCU proper. It's a multiverse, as the intro obviously says. And I think that's honestly, I've really enjoyed this series thus far. We're 6 episodes in. I can't remember how many episodes there are in season 1 of What If, and I imagine there will be a season 2, and they might even go a little more wackier with it in seasons 2 and 3, and however far they decide to go with this. But the first few episodes, the first 3 episodes, because the first 3 episodes were ooh, Kira. Let me finish up my thoughts on What If, and then I'll address your question. Give me just let me run through this. The what ifs are a hypothetical, and I think them introducing the multiverse in this particular format was a good move, both for us as fans and for the general public, because we got the concept of the multiverse in bits and pieces in oh no Carrie, you're fine. No Carrie, you're fine. I will get to your question and here in just a minute. We got a bit of it in Loki, we got a little bit of it in WandaVision, and now with What If, they're really, and we obviously got a little bit of it in Avengers Endgame and also in Doctor Strange. So the way that they have introduced the multiverse within the MCU makes it accessible both to hardcore fans, more casual fans, the misses, and that's okay, and then just the general public. And they're doing it in a way that everybody can relate to it. And we even got a touch of the multiverse even in Shang-Chi, because when they got to the Ta Lao, oh, and hey, George is here.
Hey, Ambassador.
Hey, George, good to see you, bud.
It's good to see you
So,
too.
hey, I just want to address Kira's comment here, and then George, I'll give you the floor, my friend. So, I know a crossover will never happen with DC and Marvel outside of comics, but if it did, what matchups would you like to see? Actually, Kira, well, I'll give you one crossover that I would really like to see, and it's between two very OP characters, but they're characters that I love. And one is Darkseid and Galactus. I would love to see those two go head to head. So, and I want to send a shout to the chat, Mr. Leroy Kong. Leroy, it is good to see you, bud. Hope you're having a good day, and glad you're enjoying What If as well. So, and I'll pop your comment down here, Kira. George, your thoughts on anything I've brought up so far? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I agree with you with what you've said about What If so far. It's grown pretty much dark. Like the first two episodes seemed pretty lighthearted, and then like since episode 3, it feels like they've gotten darker. And I know you haven't talked about episode 6 yet, but
No, George, you cut out. Say that one more time. George? Well, I think George is having internet issues, so I'll bring up Kira's comment here. Well, it's something everyone can enjoy, especially if you have kids. Yeah, the only thing is, Kira, I don't know if I want my kids to watch the zombie episode of What If. It might give them nightmares. So, okay. George, I had a feeling that was the case. So, George is having some internet issues, everybody. So just bear with us. Yeah, Kira, strike your. Yeah, go ahead, George.
Yeah, episode 5 was really dark, though. In my opinion, like it went a lot darker than I thought it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
oh yeah, but just a heads up, like these last 2 episodes were obviously voiced by Chadwick Boseman. I think he only has one more episode left where he's voicing T'Challa. I think he had 4 episodes of What If, and so far we've seen 3.
Yeah, there was obviously the one where he was Star-Lord. There was this one with him as T'Challa for the Killmonger, if Killmonger saves Tony. What was the other one? I'm trying to think. Oh, for heaven's sakes! No, that was. Let's see. You said he did 4 episodes.
There's 3 episodes, but he's got 4. There's one more left, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
The only
Kira,
kind of issue, and it's just like a little nitpick I had with episode 5 is like obviously we see like after the zombie outbreak happened, the Avengers are fighting them. We got to remember the Avengers were divided at one point, so they didn't really explain how they kind of united. But obviously, like a zombie infestation should be enough to put aside differences, I guess.
Oh yeah, I would definitely imagine so. So it's not a far stretch to think we got a beef. Okay, we'll worry about that beef later after we save the world from zombies.
Because like obviously like Tony still has trust issues with Cap. I mean obviously I don't think the other members of Team Iron Man and Team Captain America have any beef with one another like at this point as shown in Infinity War. But like obviously like I know like Tony still like didn't forgive Cap for what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I do want to send a shout to the chat, Neon Sci-Fi. Neon, good to see you. And I'll bring up your comment here. I know what ifs are hypothetical, but being a hardcore zombie fan genre, it's hard for me to accept mindless zombies that are driven by hunger are able to control their powers. Neon, I do understand that. I mean, you're dealing with a fictional realm within another fictional realm, so you just have to have that ability to suspend disbelief to a further degree. I mean, you're dealing with a fantastical world as it is, but zombies that's even that's its own fantastical realm in and of itself. So, but Neon, hey, I understand where you're coming from. So, but yeah, in terms of the zombie episode, it ended on a very downbeat note because you're going, oh crap, they've got the Mind Stone, and I think somebody had the Time Stone. Maybe, I'm not sure, or maybe the Time Stone was still somewhere else, or maybe Thanos had it at this point. We don't know for sure. And you're like, well, this is gonna turn out to be a complete and utter crap show because for all we know, zombie Thanos may turn half the universe into zombies.
Yeah, like obviously we don't really like. Obviously, his goal of wiping out half of humanity is gone now that he's a zombie. Who knows what his zombie goal is now?
We don't know, and I don't think I'd want to know, to be honest with you. Okay, and I'll bring up LDG's comment here. Crap, it jumped on me. He had all 5. Okay. I wasn't sure if he did or not because you didn't get a real good look at the gauntlet, but LDG, thanks for bringing that up. So I will bring up Kira's comment here. Does zombie Iron Man still suffer from alcoholism? The demon and the demon in a bottle. I would doubt it because he's a zombie. The only thing he wants is human flesh or brains. So, anyway, George, any other comments on the zombie episode?
As someone who enjoys zombie content but is not a huge
Go ahead, George.
fan of that section of horror, I thought it was a very good episode. Oh wow.
Hey LDG, good to see you.
Did I get the message across?
Yes, you did.
Does this make any sense whatsoever?
Yes, it does. Because
Okay.
he was out in space at the time before he came to Earth to collect the rest of the Infinity Stones. The zombies were now out.
Good idea. So you're saying he became a zombie before he got the stones?
No, he became a zombie after he got the stones. When he got to Earth, he was in.
So
the
person with the power gem can get the big chunk of meat bitten off his head. The reality stone can't fix this. I'm sorry. This is a stretch. This is like, for what if this is the biggest stretch yet.
But the thing is, LDG, it's supposed to be a hypothetical. You have to be able to suspend disbelief. Yes, he's got all the Infinity Stones, but a bite is going to be a bite, and he's going to turn eventually. So he's going to turn into a zombie.
I mean, I guess so, but like a hypothetical doesn't break logic, right? I mean, if you have the power stone, that means your skin can't be broken. You got the reality gem, that means you're always in control of your reality. And if these zombies are still in the head, like it looks like they are, why the hell would he not just snap his fingers, just reset them back to normal? He obviously does not want to be a zombie.
Obviously,
like, who wants to be a zombie?
But here's the thing you have to remember. You use the Infinity Gauntlet too many times, it's going to have an effect on you. Remember what happened?
Thanos cares about that? And I don't even agree, honestly. I mean, the guy was using it left and right, not only in the comics, but in the movie too.
But what I mean is, if he were to use all the stones that he had at the time, it would have an effect on him physically. Now, if he gets all the stones, we don't know what kind of effect it's going to have on him as a zombie. It may not have any effect. But again, this isn't the main MCU timeline. This is a what if zombies infested the Earth and Thanos came to Earth. Now, yes, he's got all the Infinity.
That's okay. That's a stretch. But you know what I'd like to see? And this will be my last point because I do got to get going. I just wanted to have a quick joke here. Here's the next episode of What If, because this is totally what I feel like happened to this character in Endgame.
Oh, for goodness
Oh.
sakes.
Is that
That's
from
next.
Campia?
Thank you, everybody. I have no clue. Somebody sent this to me because they know how much I hate Endgame. He totally got railed up the ass.
That was something John Campia like posted one night.
It's beautiful. Someone sent me this. I couldn't stop laughing. Anywho,
It is
love you
funny.
guys.
See you later,
Great show,
bud.
man. I'm sorry. Take it easy. Later.
Take it easy, bud. I'll talk to you later. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not yet subscribed to LDG of Geeks and Joy, what are you doing here, life? He does. I mean, I regard LDG as a friend, and no, I'm not saying that to try and smooth things over. He has his perspective, and I respect that, just as I have my perspective, and he respects it. So, anyway, and I will bring up Akira's comment here. Well, the zombie apocalypse should not that. Kira, I'm having a hard time. Okay. Well, the zombie apocalypse shouldn't that not affect extraterrestrial beings? I can suspend disbelief of sorts, or people who are non-humans like the Vision. That is true.
Well, let's also remember this isn't a normal zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a normal zombie apocalypse. Yeah, good. Lewis Cox, that's a good point. Will Zombie Thanos still get the time stone because the Battle of Titan hand doesn't happen, right? Yeah, Lewis, that's true. He doesn't have the time because he got the time stone from Doctor Strange on Titan. So either he hasn't retrieved the time stone yet, or he got it from somewhere else. Unless he was able to slip in and out of the what's the place? The main headquarters for the sorcerers. I can't remember the name of it. Damn, this sucks. Unless he was able to use the space stone to slip in there, get the time stone, and then slip back out before any zombie sorcerers came after him. So that's a possibility too. So anyhow, and LDG, if you're still in here, bud, drop a link to your channel because I'm pretty sure you're still a mod, and if you aren't, well, yeah, you are still a mod. Thought so. Anyway, and I lost George. He must be having internet issues. Anyway. Okay. And if that, and LDG, if that's the case, okay, fine. He's got the time stone. Like I said, he could have slipped in and out of the sorcerer's headquarters and gotten it. And with nobody being the wiser. So, hey, George, welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that. This was happening last night on Max's stream as well. I think my laptop's still trying to get used to streaming.
That's a possibility too. So it's okay, dude. No worries. So, well, if there is anything else on the zombie episode, we'll move into the what if Killmonger save Tony. So, George, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, this was the one I was looking forward to the most because obviously this was one that I felt like had to eventually cross over. We know Killmonger was like a soldier in Afghanistan, a mercenary in Afghanistan, and we know Tony was selling weapons there. So this was obviously one that was bound to happen, and it did not disappoint. I was very impressed with how Killmonger easily manipulated Tony's process at the time and episode, but basically wasn't trapped in the cave with Tony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you think about it, him saving Tony, as the Watcher says, robbed the world of a hero. Stark never goes through that ordeal and never becomes a changed man. He never has all those conversations with the ensign, the guy that he meets there in the caves with the 10 rings in Afghanistan, and that doesn't give him a fresh perspective. He's still the cocky playboy that has all the money in the world, and you see that in that press conference after him and Killmonger get back to the States. he's sitting there drinking a glass of scotch. You've got Obadiah on one side, you've got Happy and Pepper on the other, and then you've got Eric right there. And obviously, Eric has a different effect on Tony than Jensen did. And you see how that plays out in this particular episode. George, you there, bud? Okay, he's probably having problems. But, that's... This episode, it doesn't have quite as much... It's not as action-packed, per se, but it does present a very interesting moral and ethical discussion on the influences of other people in our lives. And if you look at what happens to Tony in this episode, he goes down kind of a dark path himself, because by the time we get to the point where he finds out that Killmonger killed Rhodey, who Tony regards as a friend, and he says, "I'm the courts are about law. I want justice," and he brings in one of the I'm not exactly sure, one of the drones, one of the Stark drones, to take out Eric. Yeah, and I'll bring up Lewis Cox's comment here. All right, the Killmonger episode of What If, it shows me anyway how Killmonger is evil, not outright evil, but still evil. The way I look at the way I looked at Killmonger in this episode, Lewis, or in this particular situation, he was almost an anti-hero. He killed not because he enjoyed it, but he killed for a reason. And although some of the people he did kill were good people, I mean, obviously he killed Rhodey, he kills Tony, but he also killed Claw as well. But he doesn't go. The thing is, and he also killed his cousin. He killed T'Challa, which kind of sucks. Okay, definitely sucks. He's driven by a principle and an ideal, which I think in certain aspects we could all be sympathetic to, at least. I mean, he looks at the life and he looks at the world around him, and he sees a lot of injustice and inequality, and he wants to try and make things right. Now, also T'Challa, when him and Eric or Killmonger have their conversation in the afterlife, he's like, "You didn't earn power; you stole it, and it will have consequences." Yeah, I'll bring up Lewis's comment here. Killmonger is an anti-hero in this episode of What If. So, George, I don't know how much you heard or didn't hear of what I had to say while you were out and everything, but like I said, your thoughts on this episode of What If? Okay. Anyhow, I'll continue on until... Okay, Kira, that's fine. I'd love to have your take on this. Absolutely. So, like I said, links up there and everything, and you are more than welcome to join us. So, but the interesting twist on this episode is Killmonger gets what he wants, but he doesn't. You almost think that he is going to turn on the Wakandans, but he himself is Wakandan, and he doesn't go that way. Granted, he does kill Eric, or he does kill T'Challa, but I think he sees that as a kill that was... He didn't want to do it, but he understood the reasoning behind it. Just like you almost get the impression that he regrets having to kill his cousin T'Challa just as much as he regrets having to kill Tony. And when he's standing there in Stark's penthouse, and he's like, "I really hope you wouldn't make the cut." But he's like, "I got to do what I got to do to achieve my goal." And Killmonger obviously is a very driven individual, just like he was in the movie, in the Black Panther movie in particular. And it presents the opportunity to ask ourselves, how far are we willing to go to achieve a particular goal? And it gives us a chance to say, would I go as far as Killmonger would go? Would I make the same choices that he did to achieve a similar goal myself? And I can say I would not kill, except maybe the only person I might consider killing would be Claw, because Claw is a thief. He is not a good person. He is a very bad person. But the other issue is with this episode, a lot of these people, a lot of these characters, they are not the version that we know. Tony continues to be the weapons dealer, the weapons designer. He doesn't change the whole structure of Stark Enterprises, which is primarily as a weapons manufacturer. And unlike the movie we see in 2008, he doesn't shut down the weapons development at Stark Industries. If anything, he ramps it up. I mean, you obviously see the sonic neuralizer that Killmonger uses in South Africa on Claw and on Rhodey, unfortunately. You also see the repulsor gun that they tinker around, that they toss around when Tony brings him to his home. So obviously, weapons manufacturing at Stark Enterprises is still a thing. So, and I do want to bring up Lewis Cox's comment here, and I will also bring up Kira as well. So, okay, come on, here we go. Also in this episode, Killmonger still wants to take over Wakanda, but in 2008 and not in 10 years later, which I find interesting. Yeah, and you know, and here's the thing: you don't get the impression that he killed his uncle or his aunt. He obviously doesn't kill Shuri. He lets him. He keeps him alive. But because I think while he does have. Okay, here we go. All right, hang on, George.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna try my phone for this because my laptop's just been acting up. I apologize.
No, dude, it's okay. George, you might want to get a hold of LDG. What kind of laptop do you have?
It's an HP. No, it's new. This happened with my previous laptop, where when I first got it, the internet was kind of inconsistent,
Mm-hmm.
and I think so. I'm just seeing. So it's really been streaming so far. It's been having a bunch of problems lately. Like the internet's gotten better, but I think it's the streaming it's still getting used to. And
Okay.
also, I think because that when I used to do streaming, it was through Chrome, and I'm using it through Edge now. Maybe that's it.
Yes, because I had the same blessed problem when I used Edge, and I switched back over to Chrome, and I had no problems whatsoever. I was having the same problems you're having. It kept dropping me out. It would freeze. It would glitch, and it was just a pain in the neck. I think there's an issue with Edge. So my advice, if you can uninstall Edge off of your computer, do so, and then switch back over to Chrome.
Okay,
and if you need...
I could try that.
If you're still having problems, get a little LDG. He knows his stuff when it comes to tech and computers and everything. He could probably help you out as well. I know you follow me, and you can look him up. He's under Geeks and Joy, or it's Geeks and Joy IT. Just send him a DM, and he can probably help you out with that if you're still having troubles with it. So.
Yeah, I'll give it a couple more weeks to see, because I know my last laptop, sometimes the internet acted up as well, and that was before streaming. So maybe it's just getting used to it.
No, because like I said, George, I used Edge for a while, and it just kept glitching and glitching and glitching anytime I streamed, and I uninstalled it off my computer, and I switched back over to Chrome as my main browser, and I haven't had a bit of trouble since. So that's just my diagnosis on it. Like I said, get a hold of LDG. he can probably help you get that sorted out. So, and I'll also bring up. I want to get back on topic here. I'll bring up Kira's comment. I would say one small thing is that doesn't Killmonger also operate in tradition, so to speak? Yes, he does. I mean, he obviously faced T'Challa in combat and bested him in combat, so he does by right have the right to become the new Black Panther. He just doesn't tell his uncle or his aunt that it was him that killed T'Challa. Now, I will say, in terms of the end of the episode, it ended on a cliffhanger, which all these episodes of What If have, and that is very much in keeping with the comic books as well. They always ended on a cliffhanger because you obviously have Shuri and Pepper meeting and them saying, well, maybe it's time we open up the eyes of the people on both our sides of things and say, yeah, this Killmonger guy, he is not a good person and we probably need to do something about him. So, but George, your thoughts on the episode with Killmonger and Tony?
So I'm like a Marvel historical kind of guy. So like the fact that we're touching upon the first MCU movie ever made, and then you're looking at a Phase 3 movie like Black Panther that was kind of a culture changer, and you're like combining them together, like really made for a fun, interesting episode. And yeah, like I like the design of the robots, as like Killmonger said, like of anime reference obviously there. And I also found it pretty interesting because we remember like in the first Iron Man, Terrence Howard played like Rhodey, and like this is happening like during that time period. You have Don Cheadle basically playing the first Iron Man era Rhodey now.
Yes. Well, and here's the thing. He made one appearance in that movie and he didn't want anything else further to do with it. Or I can't remember exactly the details as to what happened with Terrence Howard. But I will say this. I liked him in the first Iron Man well enough. But I will say I do like John. I have liked Don Cheadle as Rhodey and as War Machine throughout all his portrayals throughout the MCU. And I think he's going to be in the Armor Wars series that's going to be coming out down the road. So I'll be very interested to see where that particular series goes as well. But you bring up a very good point, George. They have meshed two particular movies that didn't really have anything to do with one another. I mean, Iron Man and Black Panther. And neither one of these films really had a whole lot to do with one another. But they were able to craft a very interesting story. So, and hey, here's Kira.
Oh,
hey, Kira.
I'm very.
Hey, Kira, welcome.
I was coming in, I was coming out, and then I realized I did something very stupid. Was that I had my PlayStation 4 controller plugged into my PC, and that was interrupting the way my headphones work.
That's okay. It happens. Don't worry about it. So
yeah, and then I had to, go back and forth, and like I had to, mute the stream so I'm not, coming and, doubling or making extra noise. Yeah, kind of stuff. So, anyways, what's going on, guys?
Well, we're discussing the episode of Killmonger with saving Tony. But hey, if you want to jump back to the zombie episode, or if you want to discuss the Hawkeye trailer, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm kind of down for whatever. I mean, I've made a lot of points in your chat room that I don't want to, step on anyone's toes. I will say.
Kira, I will say this, and I know you have. I think this is the first time I've seen you in my chat or whatever.
Yeah, this is my premiere.
Okay, and I appreciate you being here, so thank you.
No, absolutely, man. I enjoy your takes, and I only get to sort of come on to these live streams, and I usually watch VODs instead because life happens, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I get you. Well, Kira, if you've got a particular take that's contrary to what me or George has to say, please know that you can say it here, and I'm not going to insult you or denigrate you for it. So by all means, give
No,
your
no, no, no. I absolutely understand that. I think we're all very, I wouldn't say inclusive per se. We all have our own opinions, but at the same
Yes.
time, we all enjoy the same thing at the end of the day. And
Yes,
a
that's
lot of
true.
the stuff that I've said, I've already probably posted in chat. But I will say to Lewis Cox, yes, I agree with you. George never used Edge. I would say probably, if you're not using Chrome, because Chrome is kind of a resource hog, so to speak. You can maybe try Firefox if that helps any. I don't know. I have to use it for really dumb things at times because I use the Brave browser, but I have to use Firefox if I want to get on Sony PlayStation Store to log in, because for whatever stupid reason, it doesn't like me on one thing or another. So that out of the way. I haven't seen whose dog is that? Is it yours or is it George's?
Oh,
We
it's
don't
my,
have a
my
dog.
neighbor's dog outside. They leave it on the porch, and it's always like barking.
Sure, yeah. I
So
just
it's
didn't
like-
know. Like, I was like, am I talking to Max?
Yeah, I was
No.
about to say the same thing. It's like Callie 2.0.
Exactly.
or Callie the second. Well,
So,
let me-
anyways, we can get back on topic.
okay.
I would
Well,
believe that for the most part, the What If, and as well as Marvel Zombies, they have a place. I would think that that's also due diligence for a lot of kind of crossovers, because I wanted to bring up Dark Horse.
Sure, absolutely. By all means.
And so that, brings in a whole slew of other kind of characters that you can possibly introduce. First one that comes to mind would be Ash, or Ashley Williams from Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Yep. Groovy.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could make it work, possibly, but I'm not going to hold my breath on any of those things.
Well, and here's the thing, though. As far as I know, Marvel doesn't own Dark Horse. I don't even know if Dark Horse is even a active company anymore. I think they might have gotten bought out by Marvel down a few years back or so. But I will say I did enjoy a lot of the Versus comic series that they did throughout the years.
Yeah, Ash versus Freddy, I think, versus Jason. I mean, those were crazy crossovers.
Oh yeah, there was one. It was like Judge Dredd versus the Terminator versus the Aliens, or something like that. There was, let's see, obviously one of my all-time favorites was Batman versus Predator.
Yeah.
So, but I will be interested to see what they do with What If down the road. I mean, we could potentially get some What If versus, once they bring the X-Men into the MCU itself. I mean, even now that with the Eternals on the horizon, that'll make some very interesting stories and everything. It's in and of itself if they ever decide to do a What If for the Eternals. I mean, okay, here's a perspective one. What if the Eternals were involved in the MCU or in the Infinity Saga? Now that's a whole other ball of worms right there.
Exactly.
So,
as far as the Eternals is concerned, I mean, who are the main draws there? I mean, which character can you just name?
Well, here's the thing.
Or is it just a setup for something else to happen? I'm just curious.
Well, it's the introduction for this whole team of characters. You know what? Give me just a minute. I'm actually
going to be doing. And I hate to always bring DC back up, but sort of like Suicide Squad or something. That kind of
the Eternals. The Eternals are a different dynamic in terms of the Marvel universe compared to DC. Now, here's the common denominator between the Eternals and DC. Jack Kirby created the Eternals, but he also created the New Gods.
Oh no, I understand exactly where you're
So
going with this, or where you're coming from, for that matter. It's more of like a species, not a specific group. Correct?
No, it is a specific
Like they have a
group of-
council or something, or
No, you're thinking more of the Inhumans. Now, the Inhumans and the Eternals do share some similarities, but it's not. They're not the same type of dynamic.
see, yeah, I'm trying to differentiate all these different,
Okay.
casts of characters.
Well, yeah.
And my mind keeps shifting to not the Green Lanterns, but who oversee? Yeah, that's the overseers.
You mean the Guardians of Oa?
For
For
yes.
the Green Lantern Corps?
Yeah.
Okay. No, the Eternals, they are okay, to give you some history. The Eternals,
before you go ahead, am I reverbing at all on your stream or
no?
Okay,
No,
okay.
Gary,
Because I see I see my light popping off, and I was like, am I screwing up?
There's a group of cosmic beings known as the Celestials, which we have seen bits and pieces of throughout the MCU. We saw one in the first Guardians Guardians Volume 1 when the Collector is talking about the Infinity Stones. That giant being that was like in a suit of armor, that's an Eternal. When we saw this last trailer for the Eternals, and they asked, well, why haven't you been able to interfere? And they were like, by decree, by another group. And you see those giant beings. Those are the Celestials. The Celestials are a very enigmatic and a very interesting group themselves within the Marvel universe. They are known as cosmic beings because they live out amongst the cosmos, and they possess cosmic levels of power. And what they have done throughout the history of the Marvel universe is they came to Earth and they went to other different worlds, and they would do like genetic experimentation. They took a group of primitive humans and imbued them with powers and made them essentially immortal. That's why they're called the Eternals. And from that, the Celestials also created another group known as the Deviants. They were also a group of humans that were experimented upon to see what would happen. The Celestials are kind of like cosmic scientists. They go out throughout the cosmos exploring, doing experimentation, and so on to see what happens. They are not necessarily good, but they're not necessarily evil either. They're kind of morally,
They're just neutral. Yeah.
They're morally neutral.
Yeah, they don't understand right or wrong, at least in the way that humans interpret it.
They don't perceive it as we would, because they have existed for millennia, for eons. They are almost seemingly ageless, kind of in the same dynamic as the Watchers or like Galactus.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and I was actually about to get to that point, because I was going to ask, what category does Galactus fall under?
Galactus would be in the same league as the Watchers or the Celestials. He does have a certain limitation because he does have to feed upon worlds to maintain his power, whereas the Celestials or the Watchers don't.
Well, yes, and that's also correct. I would say,
Yes.
in kind of an interesting way, he has a daughter as well.
Galactus does?
Yeah. Her name's Galacta.
Not that I'm aware of, at least not within the Marvel lore that I'm familiar with. I don't know of a Galacta and everything, because the backstory on Galactus, he was actually a being from a universe that existed before the Big Bang. And when the Big Bang occurred, it destroyed his universe, and he was one of the only beings within that universe that was able to survive. He was originally known as a being known by the name of Galen. And after the Big Bang happened, and the rest of his race and the rest of his universe was wiped out.
Hold on. Are we talking about Silver Surfer?
No, Galactus.
Okay.
No. Now, Galactus went on to create what were known as his heralds, and Silver Surfer was one of his heralds. So, and those heralds would go across the universe looking for worlds that Galactus could feed on to survive and stay alive and continue to exist. Because part of the issue with Galactus is his power is somewhat unstable, and it's also it can deplete, and if he does not feed on a regular basis, he can eventually he can weaken and eventually die. So, and I do want to bring up Lewis Cox's comment here.
Sure.
Also, the Eternals are somewhat connected to the mutants and to Inhumans. Yeah, the Inhumans are, their backstory is also somewhat complicated. I don't have all of my notes on them in front of me right at hand. But the Inhumans are another group, and unfortunately, it was a group that was they tried to introduce them to the Marvel universe, but unfortunately, that introduction was badly botched in terms of the.
I would agree with you because there's so many classes of like Eternals and humans, mutants, metahumans, etc., etc. Where do we stop? The nomenclature.
Well, here's the thing, Kira. The Marvel universe and even the DC universe has a
very complicated structure, I would say. Yes,
I wouldn't say it's necessarily complicated. It's actually fairly simple if your
mind can process it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can put this in a way. It's layered in tiers of power. At the bottom tier, you have characters like Tony Stark, the Avengers, minus characters like Thor, Hank Pym, and so on. They're your low tier heroes. They're your earthbound heroes. When you move up from there, the level above them would be the mutants. And I mean like the X-Men and all the characters within the X-Men universe. In between there would be the Fantastic Four, although you could kind of say that the Fantastic Four are semi-mutants because they were exposed to cosmic radiation, and they are mutated or altered humans, but they aren't exceedingly powerful per se. Above the mutants, you would have the Eternals. Above the Eternals, you get into the cosmic beings like the Celestials, the Beyonders, the Galactus, the other cosmic beings like Infinity and Eternity, Mistress Death. And at the very tippy top of the power structure of the Marvel Universe is the one above all, which is essentially
God,
God.
more or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
can I ask you a small question? How you where would you class Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix, whatever you want to call her?
It depends on the particular incarnation. If you're talking about Jean Grey without her connection to the Phoenix Force, she is a pure mutant.
Well, yes. Well, let's go ahead and just say, the Phoenix Force.
Okay. Well, now here's the thing. The Phoenix Force in and of itself is also a cosmic being.
Sure.
And it just happens to take on it would take on a human host or the form of a human host, depending on the particular continuity. Within the Phoenix Saga and Dark Phoenix Saga, the Phoenix Force took on the appearance of Jean Grey. It actually put Jean Grey's body into a cocoon and in stasis and hid it. And it took on the appearance of Jean Grey, but it also took on all her personality traits and so on. There are other variations now in different continuities. The Phoenix Force is still a cosmic being, but also is its own separate entity and its own separate force that other beings that are connected to it can access. Think of it in this way. The Phoenix Force is the Marvel equivalent of, say, the Force from Star Wars.
Or the Speed Force or something, I guess.
Yes, something along those lines. But
different, but the same kind of thought process. Yeah, I
exactly.
understand what you're saying.
Anyway, so does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely does make sense.
Okay.
And this kind of leads me into another thing. First of all, the only reason I even brought it up in the first place was that I just recently had seen Dark Phoenix for the first time, and that was a very shitty ending to what was a 15-film franchise.
Well,
because obviously, we're talking about brokering deals with other people among major companies, so it was kind of like Sony's, final hurrah. It just wasn't done very well. Even the director himself said that, the way I had it written in my mind just didn't execute very well with fans. And
the other,
it was not a very good film.
Well, the other issue, Kira, is this. I have been a long-time X-Men fan since like the 80s. And I am familiar with all those classic stories like the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix sagas.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as of yet, have not gotten a faithful on-screen live-action adaptation of those story arcs. The closest thing that we have gotten, and it is actually, I think, very good, and a very faithful adaptation of the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix sagas, was actually in the X-Men 90s animated series. That right there, if you want the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix sagas in a faithful adaptation, it hits all the beats.
Oh, I absolutely enjoyed both the 90s X-Men series as well as the Spider-Man one. I thought a lot of those did very well.
Yeah.
And not so much with the ones that came afterwards.
X-Men Evolution was pretty good. I didn't really watch any of the other Spider-Man series after the 90s series ended.
And I like Neil Patrick Harris, but I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm. So, George, you said something?
Sorry. The Spectacular Spider-Man animated series was a good one. The problem was that it got canceled because that was when Sony and Marvel made their big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately.
And one other thing, since we're talking about X-Men, here's one of the biggest things that I really wish would have gone further, and it's possibly still up in the air, but you know what I'm talking about, and it's not Deadpool, it's Cable.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted, Cable, to have its own kind of franchise. I thought Josh Brolin was really good in the role. I thought it worked really well.
Yeah. We may eventually get a Cable series of some sort, or we may get another appearance by Cable. I will say I have seen clips of Deadpool 2. I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, but I thought Brolin's performance as Cable was very good. So, and I do want to send a shout to the chat to Benson's. Benson's, good to see you, bud.
I love you, Benson's. I see you all around all the time. So,
hope you're well. I'm really struggling with the web series. It isn't really doing it for me, but very excited for the Eternals. Hey, Benson's, I will. You don't like it? That's fine. I'm enjoying it. I mean, is it the greatest thing ever? No, it's not the greatest thing ever. But it's a good, solid series, and I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than the last animated series from Disney that I watched, and that was Bad Batch. I checked out Bad Batch at like episode 5, I think it was. I couldn't keep on with it. It got boring. I mean, I watched it, but I didn't do any further reviews of it just because I'm not going to review something that I'm not enjoying. And if there are others out there who have enjoyed that did like Bad Batch, you know what? That's cool. Anything, you're a fan of Star Wars just like me. You just happen to like something different than me. I mean, I've got friends who love the sequel trilogy. Myself, I hate the sequel trilogy. That's why I'm writing my own fan fiction for the sequel trilogy. So, but
yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, some things work for other people better than others. I mean, I go on Matt Jarbo's show a lot, and there's a lot of talk about Star Wars, but I'm more of a Star Trek fan. But you know, I'm not going to get in anyone's face about this kind of stuff.
Well, and a little transparency on my end. I mean, I enjoyed classic Trek. I enjoyed TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, stuff like that. I do have the Kelvin timeline movies. I'm actually going to probably sit down at some point and watch them and everything. But you know, I do want to.
Well, yeah. Also, there are a bunch of like alternative comics that kind of try to, blend it in for the new Trek, and then wanted to shift it away to make it work for Discovery, and then it became Picard. Blah blah blah. Like one of the biggest things that I remember most is that they tried to bring back Data. And that was kind of an interesting take, so to speak, that he, downloaded his mind into his other brother's body, and then he became a captain, and it was like, all right, fine, whatever. You're just doing this to, please your fans. It's not really my prerogative to complain too much. Thanks for the fan service, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That being said, let's rewind and not talk about Star Trek or Star Wars, but let's keep it on the level with Marvel. And
and that will bring up I'll bring up Benson's comment here referencing Star Wars. I really love the Underworld test footage. Wish that was made. Watched Cop Shop at the cinema. It was a really fun movie. Ambassador, do you enjoy the Orville? It's a guilty pleasure for me. Actually, Benson's, I recently got both seasons of the Orville on DVD, and I'm eventually going to sit down and watch those. I might do some reviews of those and everything, because I've got several friends who are also fans of the Orville as well, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. So, but we'll probably wrap up here in a couple minutes and everything.
Sure, because I only kind of have one thing last in mind, and
okay, go ahead, Kira, please.
Well, how do you see the future for Blade? Or how do you feel about it overall? I mean, whatever opinion you want to give, I'd be curious to know.
Well, I'm actually going to be doing quick thing. I'm going to be doing a stream. I think I've got set up for later this week. I'm actually going to be talking about the Marvel Universe before the MCU, and part of that is obviously with Blade
and the TV series, I assume.
I never got a chance to watch the TV series, so
I never did either. I was just curious to know what it's thought.
But in terms of the movies and what they're going to do with coming up with Marshall Ali as the main character of Blade, I liked the three Blade movies, Blade 2, and obviously Blade Trinity. It was a character I wasn't not super interested. I was super familiar with because I never read the comics, but I did like the take that they brought us with Wesley Snipes and Chris Christopherson and all of them. It was I thought it was a solid series of movies. And I'll be interested to see what they do with this new iteration, if they're going to be blending it. Obviously, they will be blending it into the MCU, and I'll be interested to see what Blade's part will be in the MCU going forward. I mean, obviously, we're going to be getting Morbius next year, and he's obviously a character whose powers are based on vampirism. So it'll be interesting to see how those two characters might interact with each other potentially. So,
well, yes, because that's going back to the Spider-Man animated series. Those two actually fought each other.
Yeah,
It's like a side plot, and it was funny as hell. I mean, it worked, and I enjoyed it. Do you think that that's an appropriate casting, though? Because I would think maybe Michael B. Jordan. That doesn't really work because he's already in another Marvel film. Michael Jai White, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry.
Michael J. White.
But he was also Spawn.
The other thing is
and he was in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, he was one of the gangsters.
Yeah.
I think
maybe some of them are a little too old for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the main issue. Is I think Michael J. White has been in films for a very long time, and he's not exactly a young man anymore. I know Marshall Ali isn't necessarily a young man either, but I think he's got a little more flexibility or whatever to do some of his own stunt work and everything, as long as it's not too dangerous. And I like Michael J. White, but as an actor, he's okay. I think you want somebody that's going to be able to bring a little more weight,
panache to it. Yeah, you have to pick your battles. You know what I mean?
So, I think Marshall Ali is a good pick for the character of Blade, and I'll be interested to see what he did. I mean, I'm not super familiar with his work. I did like him in his voice role for Into the Spider-Verse as the Prowler, as Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought he was great in that. So I'm willing to give him a chance as the new Blade. So, and
So one final factoid that I want to throw out to the audience that's listening. We spoke about Blade, and in particular in this instance, Blade 3. So, who's the one person who has been in multiple superhero films? Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3. He was Deadpool twice, actually 3 times technically, and Green Lantern. So, I mean, he's pretty much, covered the gambit.
Well, he was also, unfortunately, technically he was in 4. He was Deadpool 4 times because they did the PG rated version, or a Deadpool Christmas, which was
all right. You got me on a technicality, and he did some of those short films that he directed himself. So I mean, we could go 5 or 6.
It's not important, honestly.
Right?
But yeah, I will say this: I did like Ryan Reynolds. And this might be a bit of an interesting take on my part. I did enjoy, for the most part, the Green Lantern film. I know a lot of people did not care for it. That's fine.
I thought parts of it could have been better. I don't think his presentation as Hal Jordan was bad. It was just poorly written, and he had to work with what he was given.
That's true.
That's my thinking on it.
It had potential, but it was like wasted potential.
Very much so, yes. Yeah. And then I appreciate the fact that he made fun of it in his Deadpool.
Deadpool 2 with the post
credits.
Yes.
Yeah, the post credits.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I've seen, like I said, I've seen clips of Deadpool 2. I've just never had a chance to watch it all the way through. So, I'm eventually gonna, just like Venom, I'm gonna get a copy of it and everything to add to the collection. So.
But can I offer one small suggestion to you? I mean, sure. I understand wanting, physical copies of stuff, obviously, because I'm also a collector as well. I'm more of a horror film buff, but I do like this other stuff. If you want to, preview something, I would assume maybe your local library has some sort of programming. You get all that shit for free.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's just free advice, even if it's not wanted. But one other small thing in here that Benson says, make sure you include Condor Men in that review. The first Marvel movie that everyone forgets. Was Condor Man before Howard the Duck?
It might be, but yes, I will be bringing up Howard the Duck. And I know, I know Matt Jarbo did a giveaway last month for a 4K copy of Howard the Duck. And yes, we will talk about Howard the Duck because technically it is a Marvel movie because it is a Marvel property, and it was definitely before the MCU. Well before the MCU. So,
Lewis, yeah, I would agree that, Ryan Reynolds would have been a great Wally West or Barry Allen. Doesn't really, matter which one you choose. Ezra Miller is okay. I would say that despite all of his, legal battles, it's not like the most favorable thing. It's all a lost opportunity, especially with Zack Snyder's cut. So I'll just leave it there and not make too much of a fuss about it.
GMCR, George Lucas worked on Howard the Duck. Yeah, he was a producer, I believe, and it features Leigh Thompson and a great song. And it also features duck tits. Woo-hoo.
Absolutely, because Jarbo couldn't stop making a point of it. So now
yes,
I can't.
I know.
Not. I can't not think of it at this point whenever the subject comes up.
Well, not to mention on one stream he actually talked about how ducks reproduce. And I'm like, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China?
Yeah, like where is this going? What are we talking about? I mean,
it's Jarbo.
Yeah, I know, and I love him for what he does.
Yes, I do too. I do. I know he gets. I know he. You know what? I know he's somewhat of a polarizing character, or person. But you know what? I don't care.
I will say this, if he's having fun what he's doing, that's all that really matters. And I hope that for everyone else who, does live streams like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're having a good time. Obviously, George is probably dead, but,
George is not dead. He just has a tumor.
Well, hey, if you like listening to my nonsense, well, I don't have any channel to plug, so I'll just, leave it there. So,
I do want to address Benson's comment here real quick. I thought it had, Benson's. I thought it had potential. I'll be interested to see if they do anything with it. I mean, Star Wars will always be near and dear to my heart. So anything that they do, I will give a shot to. I'm going to check out Andor when it comes out. I'm going to check out Ahsoka when it comes out. I will check out the Book of Boba Fett when it comes out in a couple of months. I will always have been and always will be a Star Wars fan, hardcore. Whether it was before Disney or when Disney took over, I don't care. Now, has everything Disney done? Am I pleased with? No. Everybody knows my opinion on this. I'm not going to rehash it. But I am definitely not going to sit I'm not going to just crap on people who are trying to tell stories and trying to create something for the fan base, which I'm a part of. Hi, hello. And for the general public to enjoy as well. If you love the EU, great. I love the EU too. You love the OT, I do too. It is by far one of the greatest pieces of cinema in the history of ever. I love the prequel trilogy in spite of its flaws and its imperfections. I love the animated series, at least the ones I have watched, and that is, of course, Clone Wars and Rebels. I watched the biggest part of Rebels. I enjoyed it. I didn't care for Bad Batch. I will definitely be checking out Visions, and I'm happy to hear that they're going to be dropping Visions all at one time, and I will check it out, and I will bring you all my thoughts on it when I'm done with it.
But, okay, two small things. It's funny to me as fuck that Hayden Christensen also fought Samuel L. Jackson in Jumper.
Yes, I know.
And that's always a small factoid that it escapes a lot of Star Wars fans. And I think it's amusing as hell.
Well, technically, he didn't really fight. He didn't fight Samuel Jackson. He chopped his hand off, and then Palpatine electrocuted him. That's all he did.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I know
you
you
said
want
that
to
he-
wrap it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you said he fought Samuel Jackson in Revenge of the Sith. No, he didn't. He just chopped his hand off.
Well, I said that he fought him in Jumper.
Yes, that's true. I know. Yeah.
So
Well,
it's mildly amusing to me, on the off take of,
it is. So
he's
Anyway.
these guys are everywhere. One last thing that I want to say, and it's Star Wars related, what I
Mhm.
would like to see the most is something with doing give me some Kyle Katarn, give me some Dash Rendar. That's all I've been saying for the longest time.
Well, Kira, I don't know if you saw this before I started, but I do have a character that is somewhat connected to the expanded universe. I got this, quite literally yesterday.
Well, okay, because I always get confused when
Nice.
people talk about the expanding universe, like it's talking about like
Mhm. I'm assuming you know who this is, right?
I don't even know where to see it. Where am I what am I looking at?
Look at my camera.
Oh, yeah, isn't that maybe I'm seeing it wrong.
And you call yourself a Star Wars fan. That is
No,
Grand
I say I
Admiral-
call myself a Star Trek fan. I'm just a Star
Okay.
Wars, passerby, I
Well-
guess you could say.
Well, Star Trek is superior to Star Wars.
Ooh, that's a big hot take right there, and you might just piss off all of the wrong people. I was going to say that was Han Solo's kid, not Ben from the sequels, but
No, this
that-
is Grand Admiral Thrawn from the expanded universe.
okay.
no, it
Well,
is
I
not.
couldn't get a good look at it.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
There.
at the same
Can you see
time,
it now?
a
Does that
little
look
bit
like it?
better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What is that like? Around his neck.
That's a Ysalamiri. It's actually
Okay.
it's actually a character from the Star Wars universe that's actually immune to the Force.
See, that's why I'm not good at these things sometimes. At the same time, like William Shatner's version of Star Trek, this Shatnerverse. If anyone's ever read any of those books, they'll know what the hell I'm talking about, because it just veers off into absurdity sometimes.
Yeah.
So I will contain myself from all of this geekdom and not burden all of you fun people anymore.
You're fine, Kira. Well, George, Kira, like I said, we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I'm going to let you all have the final word on the 2 episodes of What If and the Hawkeye trailer, and then I'll close up and we'll call it a day. So, gentlemen,
All right, can I go first?
no,
Okay.
yes,
All right, I'll just say one thing simply. I haven't seen it, so I have no idea, and I'm not going to judge it on just hearsay. So, if you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, give your money to those people or don't. Who cares? And George, you have the floor.
All I can say about episode 6 is even though they have no connections, Black Panther and Iron Man, the way they connected it by using Killmonger's history in Afghanistan and where Tony was at the time, I thought that was the smart way to do it. It's those little hints that really to connect that make the MCU so special.
yes.
Oh, I will say one last thing. Ambassador, thank you for having me. That's all.
You're welcome. And Kira, you're always welcome here. So,
And George, I always appreciate you as well, even though we just met, but you sound like a very level-headed guy.
Oh, thank
he
you.
is.
I can always appreciate that. So anyways, I'll just cancel myself. You can do whatever wrap-up you need to. I don't need to be here to inflict any more pain on anyone else.
You didn't inflict any pain on anybody. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I would love to be back again sometime if you'd have me.
Well, as I do with most of my streams, the link will be in the link to the stream will be in the chat, and all you guys do
Well,
is click it.
I'm already subbed, and I get all the notifications. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
So, anyways, love you guys. Have a good one. Okay.
Take care.
Peace, Kira. So, well, anyways, folks, my final words on What If and Hawkeye. Hawkeye looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be interested to see the dynamic between Clint and Kate. Again, I say Clint and Kate, the Hawkeyes. Possible replacement strip title, or the Adventures of Clint and Kate. That could work. But anyway, and as in terms of these last couple episodes of What If, we have taken a turn down a dark path in the MCU, and I can say I dig it. We are peering through a mirror and darkly, to use a bit of scripture. So, but I do want to let you all know I will be back this week with some more streams. I'll be going live on Thursday, and if I remember correctly, and I generally do, Thursday night will be a retro review of. Hang on, let me pull up my StreamYard because I've set up several streams, and I can't quite remember every single one of them that I'm doing. Okay, I'm live right now. Okay, this Thursday, the 23rd, I'll be going live 7 p.m. with a retro review of two favorite films of mine from the 1990s, and that is two of Sylvester Stallone's best, at least one of his best and one of his and as of course Judge Dredd and Demolition Man. So though I haven't done any retro reviews in a while, and I'm going to be that'll be one coming up. And then of course this coming Friday I'll be back with the Council of Ones as we are continuing our review of Babylon 5 season 4. That'll be at 3:30 Central Time. Potentially I may have to reschedule, just depends on what's going on Friday. I'll have to get with the council, and we may have to do that on a different day, but regardless, there will be another review of Babylon 5 season 4 this week. And then this Saturday night, I'm going to be bringing you all another ambassadorial editorial, and like I mentioned earlier in the stream, we're going to be talking Marvel before the MCU. We'll be talking about the movies. We'll be talking about the TV series, the animated series. I know we touched on the animated series before, but we'll be focusing mainly on the movies of the Marvel universe before the MCU was a thing. And then, of course, the end of the month, September 30th, I will be bringing you all a very different stream. It will be an ambassadorial appreciation stream. But it won't be for another YouTuber, although I may start doing some of those down the road. This will be for an actress that has gotten some, I think, unwarranted hate. Not criticism. Criticism is welcome. But some unwarranted and unnecessary hate from certain corners of the YouTube, from the internet. And that is, of course, an appreciation stream for the lovely and talented Brie Larson. And that will be also at 7 p.m. Central Time. So, but anyways, folks, thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. Again, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe if you are not already subscribed to the Ambassadorial Wing. We are 8 away from 450. I might do something special when we hit 450, which it seems like I'll get there eventually. And when we hit 500, I'm going to be doing another watch party for another favorite classic movie of mine, and that is of course Galaxy Quest. So, but I want to wrap up this stream by saying one thing further before I do close, and I do want to turn my camera on for this. And this is to a fellow YouTuber and a certain young lady that I have a great amount of respect and appreciation for, and as one that we all know and we know well, and that is, of course, Saggy Melons. She has gone through a rough patch. She has had her trust betrayed, and she has been used and discarded. And I want to say this to Saggy. and whatever name that she goes by out in the real world. The ambassador and the ambassadorial wing stands with you, Saggy. And know that I will be here. We will be here when you return. And I have nothing but the utmost respect and the utmost appreciation for your contributions to this thing called the internet. You were honest, you are authentic, and you are real. And I respect you for that. And to the individual who stabbed you in the back, I simply have this to say. Cotton burns. And I cannot wait to see what the Lord does to you. Because I will not take revenge upon you. I will leave that in the hands of the Lord. Because there is a special place in hell for betrayers. But Saggy, we love you. We will miss you. But we will be here when you come back. And there will be indeed much rejoicing. But that all being said, folks, you have a great week. We will see you all later this week. And until next time, these are the ambassadors signing off.
I have always been